Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So, as you guys know, here on the channel, we mainly talk about basketball. It's definitely my favorite sport. But with that being said, I watch a lot of other sports too, man. And as we all know now, yesterday was the passing of John Madden, and just his footprint on so many aspects of the game of football and what it's become today is just so reliant on what he did for the sport, man. And so many different branches too. You know what I'm saying, man? Like John Madden, I mean, I know me personally, when I think of Madden, I think of the video game. But beyond that, just as a coach and a broadcaster and everything like that, man, it's just one of those things that as you get older and, you see these type of legends and just these personalities. And when you're younger, you view these people almost as like superheroes, just like, man, like that's John Madden right there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's John Madden. And yeah, it's just really, I don't know if humbling's the word as you get older when you just see things happen. I mean, as far as an icon goes for sports, a few years back, we all know what happened with Kobe Bryant and everything like that, man. It's just like there are certain cases where just certain things just really hit you a lot harder and everything. So I thought for today, today was meant to have video about football. It's about football, man. So I'm not going to lie. When it comes to John Madden, I don't know his entire history and everything. I know bits and pieces, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do. So what we have here is we have Colin Cowherd. Is going to be, just talking about, man, I like Colin Cowherd a lot. I've always just liked the way that he's been able to articulate different things, and he's very good at keeping things real and almost like in a different perspective. So, I chose to listen to Colin Cowherd today and, what he's had to say about things. So let's check this out, man. Let's check this out.
When I first fell in love with football, it was in the very early 70s, 1972. That's the first football game. And it wasn't the first game I watched, but it was the first football game of note that I
remember watching football for the first time. Okay, so when I was growing up, when I was really young, I remember I'd be hanging out in the living room watching football with my dad and my older brother. And my older brother is about 2 years older than me, about 2 years older than me. And we watching football, and I didn't understand football. I was like, why do they keep on blowing this bitch ass whistle? Why do they keep on doing it? I just never understood it. And then I just remember my dad would always be like, all right, my name's Craig, by the way, if you didn't know, my brother's name is Chris. So it's like, all right, Craig and Chris, it's time to go in, time to go take a nap. And I'd be freaking out, but I was like, well, my older brother got to take a nap too. And we watching football, and then, cause I didn't know what was going on. So go lay down, and I'd fall asleep with my brother to get to sneak on and watch the rest of the football game. What's up with that? What's up with that, man? But that's just a little insight to my first experience watching football, I guess.
I can remember watching. I had a friend, Jack Jones, and his name will become relevant because I'm going to talk about his brother in a second. But I remember he liked the Rams, and I liked George Allen in Washington.
I like the Eagles.
And
Brian Westbrook. Oh, my guy.
He wasn't from Los Angeles. I wasn't from Washington, D.C., but
McNabb.
We didn't have a local team. The Seahawks weren't born until the mid-'70s. And so you watch the big brands. And back then, it was Don Shula's Dolphins. It was Chuck Noll, stoic Chuck Noll and the Steelers. And in the early 70s, Dolphins won in 72, the first game I ever watched against Billy Kilmer in Washington and George Allen. And then it was John Madden, Raiders. And it's fascinating because when you're hearing people talk about John Madden, it's very unique that you can be relevant in multiple industries.
That's what I'm saying.
40 to 50 years.
And be a master. Be a master at it, too.
Unmatched. Absolutely unmatched. John...
Literally having the drive and the intelligence to succeed no matter what you do. Think about that. People struggle to find one thing to dominate at, or even just to be relevant in to some extent. And John Madden, he became the best at whatever it was that he did.
Was a legendary coach in the 70s, an amazing broadcaster in the 80s, 90s, a game pioneer after that, and to the very last year of his life, network executives.
I remember playing the 8-bit, is that what it is? I don't know, man. Being at the Boys and Girls Club, man, and just playing just like the old school Madden games, man, on like PlayStation 1. Different times as far as the gamer. Like we are spoiled as gamers these days. But just like there was a lot less games back in the day, but the ones you played, ooh, they hit. They hit hard.
Coaches were calling him in Pleasanton, California to pick his brain. There's a lot about John you do know, but and there's a lot you don't know, but people are struck by his size, his comedic timing. What really gets me about Madden, he was way smarter than anybody gives him credit for. So John...
But he wasn't cocky about it.
Everybody cares how people view them.
He was humble about it.
John leaned into what he was. Like, he really understood. He was big and loud and fun, and he leaned right into it. But he was really intelligent. The only person I can think of who has been part of our social fabric for that long is like Oprah, who's the only broadcaster in my life that owns her own network. But the Raider teams were fascinating, and I know I'm probably only talking to people here who are in their 50s. So if you're in your 20s and 30s, I'm just going to kind of explain what it was like being
That's why I'm here.
In the 70s and watching the NFL.
Isn't that crazy? I'm 29. You're watching this. You might be older. You might be younger. But the fact that we're all here right now, or not just on my video, but just, man, just like the impact in different ways across different generations. Like, we all care, you know? That's insane. That's an insane legacy to make everybody care. Really think about that. In the words of Flay, it really is inspiration. It really is.
You had probably the greatest team ever assembled, the Steelers. And the Dolphins and the Raiders were an inch below them. The Raiders are so unbelievably memorable because there's never been a team that matched their coach. I can name almost every Raider. They were perfectly constructed. The speed receiver, Cliff Branch. The hands receiver, Fred Biletnikoff. The tight end that could block and run, Dave Casper. The offensive line, left to right, was Jim Otto, Hall of Famer. Gene Upshaw,
obviously all
Hall
great
of Famer,
players, but I just don't know them.
Art Shell, Hall of Famer. Mark Van Egan was the running back. The defense was similarly brilliantly constructed. The playmaking linebacker, Phil Villapiano. The pass rusher, Ted Hendricks, the Stork. The tough interior lineman, John Matuzak. That head-hunting safety at the time that was allowed, Jack Tatum. Willie Brown, the corner, joined later by Lester Hayes and the Stickum. And you have to be really smart to be part of an organization that is perfectly constructed. But
gotta know your
another
role.
sign of the intelligence of Madden was his simplicity. So years ago, I'm rambling here, I got a broadcasting job out of college in Las Vegas. And I remember I would go to these minor league ballparks and in the clubhouses.
That's actually
one
super
time I was
interesting,
in Phoenix,
so
and I remember
cool
the
thing.
manager's name, but I'm not going to say it. And he had his rules on the door, and there must have been 25 rules.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, man, if I was ever like a boss, I would have very few rules because I couldn't remember all his rules.
Yeah, you want to have rules that like you want to have like the broad rule that all the other like you don't gotta like list every single thing out. Like if you have like the broad sense of the rules, then it's like yeah, like and obviously the stuff falls under that.
John Madden.
I agree with that.
And John Madden, as a former player, understood the fewer rules, the faster players play. Show up on time, listen, and play your butt off Sunday.
There you
That
go.
was it.
There you go.
That is brilliant. Everybody's got rules, and politicians are all layered. John, if you're a politician today, you should watch John Madden. He would connect with everybody, but was better than nobody. And it was all about simplicity. When you think of Madden, you just think big and rough and physical. But what you don't ever hear people talk about is how damn smart he was. He had the football integrity and intensity of Mike Tomlin, the relatability and the ability to adapt like Andy Reid.
Just somebody you wanted to play for.
Of Belichick, the love for power football like Kyle Shanahan. And like many legends, He was a combination of many things, and like all legends, there was nobody else like him.
Yeah, and people like that. They almost give off like this aurora where you want to like you just want to be like the best you can be around them, because they are gonna get the most out of you, and you respect the hell out of it.
He made TV better. He made football better. He gave credit to people, linemen that nobody talked about, and he was completely authentic. Often duplicated, often imitated, never duplicated. But I thought about this morning what to talk about. And, people that knew John much greater than me, I only interviewed him one time. He briefly coached 15-minute drive from my house. And I had him live on the air. He had a mind like a steel trap. And this had happened 40 years earlier. And I said, John, I grew up right next to Grays Harbor Community College. And he goes, the Chokers. No, that was the name of the team. The Chokers.
Not great.
And he went on for 5 minutes. He knew streets. He knew times. He knew dates. A steel trap.
I'm the complete
but
opposite.
I hope it's
I can't
not
remember
lost
nothing.
in all of this.
I can't remember a dang thing ever.
How smart John was. To be a great coach, and then a network-altering broadcaster, and then a brilliant businessman in Pleasanton, California, and then a pioneer in video games. And then at the very end, Eric Shanks, our boss, would regularly, could have been weekly, maybe it's monthly, certainly more than annually, be on the phone with Madden, asking questions about football. What would you do? What do you make of that? What do you make of this person? What would you do in this situation? You see this big, loud, funny guy who used to go on Letterman. To be that relevant and to be that respected, you have to be so on top of it and so
likability
smart.
And intelligence.
And when I think of John, I think of intensity, I think of integrity, and I think of intelligence. If you did not see those teams play, those players, you would think having a cast of characters would be a team that was hard to galvanize, right? They all had big personalities. Kenny Stabler had a big personality, and Matuzak, and Villapiano, and Hendricks, and Lester Hayes, and Jack Tatum. You would think this would be an incredibly hard team to get your arms around and coach. But no, John, as a former player, was respected by players. And perhaps the greatest respect you can pay as a boss or a coach. Very few rules. Show up on time, listen, and work really hard.
A lot to learn from this video,
and that
guys.
was him.
It really is.
Madden made complicated things incredibly embraceable and simple. And everybody out there on social media is trying to show you how smart they are. I know this. I'm an epidemiologist.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I'm a politician. I'm a legislator. Madden never worried about that. It was about football. If you played it, if you loved it, if you coached it, if you talked about it, if you broadcast it, John had an influence on your life. One of the smartest human beings the NFL has ever had. Don't let that get lost. You cannot be that relevant, that many ways, that many decades, without massive brain power. Rest in peace. Hi, everybody. Thanks for...
Rest in peace. And thank you for everything you've contributed to, just... everything that you've done, just left your footprint on just sports in general. And I talked about it in the beginning of the video. That's all we got, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your day, and peace out.